Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our Yom HaShoah Holocaust Commemoration ceremony. Here's our CEO, Dan Mariashin.
Welcome to B'nai B'rith International's Holocaust Commemoration Program. Unto every person there is a name. B'nai B'rith International has proudly served as the North American sponsor of this program since 1989 on behalf of Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center in Jerusalem. Unto programming is coordinated by the B'nai B'rith Center for Jewish Identity. Our virtual ceremony today is part of other events that are being held around the globe in major cities and on 119 college campuses in cooperation with the Alpha Epsilon Pi AEPi fraternity, their project, We Walk to Remember. Yad Vashem created the Global Shoah Memorial Initiative Unto Every Person There Is a Name, and it is held under the auspices of the President of the State of Israel. The program brings this important observance to communities around the world to remember the 6 million Jews murdered by the Nazis, 1.5 million of them children. Each year, Yad Vashem's International Committee selects a central theme and provides materials that are used in part of the program. B'nai B'rith is represented on the committee by Alan Schneider, the director of the B'nai B'rith World Center in Jerusalem. Today, on Yom HaShoah in Jerusalem, the B'nai B'rith World Center also held a program at the B'nai B'rith Martyrs Forest in conjunction with Keren Kayemet LeYisrael to recognize the heroism of Jews who rescued fellow Jews during the Holocaust. During that ceremony, the Jewish Rescuers Citation was conferred on 13 rescuers who operated in France, Holland, Germany, Slovakia, Lithuania, Czechoslovakia, and Denmark. The Citation, a joint program of the B'nai B'rith World Center and the Committee to Recognize the Heroism of Jewish Rescuers During the Holocaust, known as JRJ, has been awarded to more than 600 heroes since its inception in 2011. The central theme selected by Yad Vashem's International Committee for the 2022 observance is Transports to Extinction, the deportation of the Jews during the Holocaust. Joining us today to remember the victims of the Holocaust by reading the names aloud are B'nai B'rith and community leaders. Seth Ricklin, B'nai B'rith International President. Sheila Mostyn, Chair of the B'nai B'rith Center for Jewish Identity. Brad Adolph, Vice Chair of B'nai B'rith International. Josh Sushan, Chair of Connect, B'nai B'rith's Young Leadership Program. And Rob Dertiger, the CEO of the AEPi fraternity. Danny Dayan, Chair of Yad Vashem, wrote in the introduction to the 2022 materials that the annual recitation of names of victims of the Holocaust, Martyrs, and Heroes Remembrance Day is one way of posthumously restoring the victims' names, of commemorating them as individuals. We seek in this manner to honor the memory of the victims, to grapple with the enormity of the murder, and to combat Holocaust denial and distortion. To date, more than 4,800,000 names of victims are recorded in Yad Vashem's online central database of Shoah victims' names. The importance of submitting pages of testimony continues to be a critical message that we continue to share each year.
I'm honored to read this letter from President Herzog from Israel. Friends, the Holocaust represents a devastation of proportions too vast to understand. The sheer number of lives lost is beyond comprehension. It is therefore our solemn responsibility to safeguard the memories of those who died. Each year, under each person there is a name, compels us to commemorate the Jewish people's tragic history by reading aloud the names of people who were murdered. We personalize this immense tragedy by breaking it down to the individual, the family, the town. We think of their lives, their hopes, and dreams, and remember that each person was a world unto themselves. that the death of each individual is an indescribable loss, one that can never be replaced. This year's theme, Transport to Extinction, emphasizes the loss of so many who unknowingly boarded death trains and never returned home. Jewish men, women, and children were systemically crammed into cattle cars that transported them to their death. We can do nothing to bring them back, but we can counter the unimaginable cruelty with compassion. We can defy the Nazis' attempts to erase by reciting the names, by actively remembering. It is our historic responsibility to never forget the crimes that were committed against the Jewish people and never let the memory fade. Let us remember that each name represents a soul. Let us mourn as a people, and let us declare that our Jewish brothers and sisters will live forever on in our memories. Sincerely yours, Yitzhak Herzog, President of the State of Israel. Every single victim of the Holocaust had a name. We remember their names and promise to never forget. We remember Malkiel Abayev from Tajikistan, Russia. Rosa Abramson, who's 53 and died in Slonim, Poland. Rosa Agun, who was only 6 and died in Berezovka, Ukraine. Zlata Eisenberg, who was 80 years old and died in Balaya Serkov, Ukraine. Sayoma Osman, who was only 12 and was from Ukraine. Zalman Axelrod, who was 52 and died in Kherson, Ukraine. Moishe Alenikov, who was 39 and died in Kharkov, Ukraine. Vanya Altman, who was 50 and died in Kamenets-Podolsky, Ukraine. Leib Altshuler, who was from Belarus. Alik Amiradov, who was from Russia. Rakil Appelbaum, who died in Zhytomyr, Ukraine. Manya Arbitman, who was 36 years old and died in Uman, Ukraine. Paisha Arshansky, who was from Russia. Solomon Arvan, who was 27 and died in Hungary. Mikhail Asherov, who died in Kalinan, Russia. Moishe Ayurka, who was from Belarus, who was 18 and was from Belarus. Samuel Averbuk, who was 7 years old and died in Beshinkovichi, Belarus. Mosei Azerkin, who was 42 and died in Voronezh, Russia. Ravika Bachrak, who was 49 and died in Simferopol, Russia. Enia Bachman, who was 35 and died in Balta, Russia. Lisa Kochmeister, who was from Venetia. Milan Beck, who was from Sabotica. Jezo Wiesman, who died in Treblinka. Jerzek Wilk, who died in Chelmino. Josel Zarniecki, who died in Auschwitz. Sonia Kekelevich, who died in Frauenwilden. Yakov Kait, who died in Mariupol and was from Mariupol. Nelly Soberberg, who died in Auschwitz. Jenna Fisher, who died in Auschwitz. Avram Nerdinsky, who died in Permavisk. Yaakov Yavroboim, who died in Medzerach. Judith Kemeny, who died in Auschwitz. Sonia Karabov, who died in Petergof. Leah Murad, who died in Birkenau. Gitu Hartstein, who died in Auschwitz. Lena Kravtsova, who died in Dnipropetrovsk, Russia. Agatha Weiss, who died in Auschwitz. Iboli Weiss, who died in Auschwitz. Melech Reich, who died in Auschwitz. Alexander Alberbach, who's from Mariupol and died in Mariupol. We promise to never forget.
Unto every person there is a name. The poem is written by the Israeli poet Zelda. Unto every person there is a name bestowed on him by God and given to him by his parents. Unto every person there is a name accorded him by his stature and type of smile and style of dress. Unto every person there is a name conferred by the mountains and the walls which surround him. Unto every person there is a name granted him by fortune's wheel, or that which neighbors call him. Unto every person there is a name assigned him by his failings, or contributed by his yearnings. Unto every person there is a name given to him by his enemies, or by his love. Unto every person there is a name derived from his celebrations and his occupation. Unto every person there is a name presented him by the seasons and his blindness. Unto every person there is a name which he receives from the sea and is given to him by his death. We remember Bria Lipner perished in Auschwitz, 5 years of age. Hilka Perlmutter lived and died in Lorkaski, 8 years old. Pinkas Ulrich, murdered in Belzec, 2. Thomas Laurie, perished in Birkenau, 6. Freya Kunowski, born and died in Mitzilov, 3 years of age. Yosef Simovicki, perished in Auschwitz, 6. Chaya Lowenstein, murdered in Auschwitz, 7. Freda Woletsky, murdered in Treblinka, 9. Sivya Weintraub, born in Yedinsky, 9 years of age, he died. Mendel Roth, murdered in Auschwitz, 10. Yosif Lepidlis, born and died in Tivrov, 7. Yakov Kuperband, born and died in Lubopol, 8 years old. Misha Flaschner, lived and died in Polhajka, 6. Musha Patson, born and died in Moligiv, 5. David Weinreich, born in Dizhurn, died at 8 years of age. Mara Mazo, born and died in Minsk, 8. Shmulek Yazivitsky, born and died in Kisly, 10. Margoyani, perished in Auschwitz, 9. Emil Wagner, murdered in Transnistria, 5. Jenik Kernik, born in Wrześław, died at the age of 5. Solomon Lauterspiel, born and died in Lublin, 2 years old. Misha Gorlichov, lived and died in Ryazhna, 9. Yevgeny Pupkin, born and died in Novi Oskol, 4. Rebecca Kruk, lived and died in Odessa, 7. Vova Yavonchik, murdered in Babi Yar, 5. Maya Labovskaya, perished in Babi Yar, 10. Milos Platovsky, born in Progolov, died age 10. Willem Honeck, perished in Sachsenhausen, 4. Evgeny Steinberg, lived and died in Simferopol, 7. Leja Peleman, murdered in Chemno, 7. Yakov Kleiman, perished in Birkenau, 9. Yuda Pras, lived and died in Novopoltavka, 9 years old. These innocent, sweet children, we promise to never forget.
The theme of transports and deportation is described by Elie Wiesel in Night. The doors clanked shut. We had fallen into the trap up to our necks. The doors were nailed, the way back irrevocably cut off. The world had become a hermetically sealed cattle car. We remember. Siegfried Eisner, place of death Teschen at the age of 10. Naka Kempinski, place of death Auschwitz at the age of 8. Fega Blutstein, place of death Skala, 5 years old. Lavoya Lewandowski, place of death Leningrad, 8 years old. Nelly Piratsky, place of death Borispol, age 8 years old. Zana Shamrai-Vaskaya, place of death Kharkov at 3 years of age. Carmen Mueller, place of death Auschwitz, 9 years old. Bella Gluck, place of death Auschwitz, 4 years old. Judith Goldstein, place of death Auschwitz, 10 years old. Myruka Kraus, place of death Auschwitz, 8 years old. Chaim Goldwasser, place of death Treblinka, 6 years old. Manya Kolyarsky, place of death Teplik, 4 years old. Smil Parka, place of death Rano, 3 years old. Edith Hirsch, place of death Auschwitz, 10 years old. Judith Gatzman, place of death Auschwitz, 5 years old. Judith Gross, place of death Sobibor, 5 years old. Marika Graz, place of death Auschwitz, 8 years old. Zenya Boloyatsky, place of death Fastov, 6 years old. Kaiva Lenzner, place of death Treblinka, 8 years old. Yankel Kaplowitz, place of death Auschwitz, 9 years old. Isaac Forkash, place of death Auschwitz, 1 year old. Itzka Rabinovich, place of death Novograd Volyn, 4 years old. Chida Eisner, place of death Auschwitz, 9 years old. Mai Nikomadevov, place of death Minsk, 10 years old. Miko Tabo, place of death Auschwitz, 4 years old. Zusaika Bushutz, place of death Auschwitz, 2 years old. Bernhard Abraham, place of death Auschwitz, 1 year old. Gedaljahu Olitskaya, 2 years old. Hanarel Wasserman, 7 years old. Herschel Ziegler, place of death Treblinka, 1 year old. Judith Kellner, place of death Auschwitz, 5 years old. Berthold Itzkoek, place of death Auschwitz, 10 years old. Rizy Razmovich, place of death, Birkenau, 1 year old. Fina Loderstein, place of death, Polanoia, 9 years old. Asheva Shulrufer, place of death, Den Protavidis, 5 years old. Noema Gurvich, place of death, Pritzfeld, 8 years old. Gula Gluck, place of death, Auschwitz, 7 years old. Marlaika Eck, place of death, Belzig, 9 years old. Binyamin Nayamin, place of death, 6 years old. Mitya Boltax, 7 years old. We promise to never forget.
A postcard written by a young girl, Anna Ventura, taken from Yad Vashem's archives. It shares her writing on the deportation train that left the Vasily camp for Auschwitz on February 22nd, 1944. The card was thrown from the train as it crossed the border between Italy and Austria, with the hope that someone would find it and mail it. It was addressed to my very dear ones and said in part, "All of my thoughts are of you." The surviving family recounts that her journey lasted 5 days. Of the 650 Jews deported, 521 were murdered on the day of their arrival. Anna was one of them. We remember Israel Kassir, perished Auschwitz, age 8. Mordechai Lachman, perished Treblinka, age 6. Sveta Kaufman, perished Kalinendorf, age 2. Benili Smith, perished Krazai, age 4. Shulamit Stein, from Köln, age 6. Isa Feierstein, from Balti, age 8. Aryeh Osterowik, from Radzmin, age 5. Geni Roisman, perished Transnistria, age 3. Israel Dahin, perished Winnica, age 9. Yehudit Grossman, perished Auschwitz, age 4. Abram Jacob, perished Auschwitz, age 6. Isaac Kravitz, perished Dachau, age 10. Margarita Sapoznikova, perished Simferopol, age 1. Avram Grodner, perished Huge, age 5. Betty Erdele, perished Auschwitz, age 5. Eli Sarna, perished Auschwitz, age 8. Stusia Shrebnik, from Biala, age 8. Sewek Moitel, perished Kelmno, age 5. Mary Markovitz, perished Auschwitz, age 5. Giancarla Anticoli, from Rome, age 3. Pavel Yashpas, perished Varnikai, age 7. Moisha Mendelwitz, perished Auschwitz, age 6. Clarté Brunevelds, perished Sobibor, age 4. Zvi Friedman, perished Auschwitz, age 3. Simeon Tesler, perished Auschwitz, age 10. Maurice Abravnel, perished Birkenau, age 5. Etya Lvovich, perished, Glusk, age 4. Maria Yampolskaya, perished, Kamenets Podolsky, age 6. Veruca Kohn, perished, Auschwitz, age 5. Grazia Anticoli, from Rome, age 4. Yitzhak Abraham, perished, Auschwitz, age 4. Bubi Sifferblatt, from Gordinka, age 3. Motel Polyakov, perished, Odessa, age 10. Rakil Makilin, perished, Zhytomyr, age 4. Kaila Izbiki, perished, Lodz, age 9. Lotzi Moshkovich, perished, Auschwitz, age 3. Kenya Ozorowitz, perished, Belzec, age 8. Joni Sapira, perished, Auschwitz, age 8. Yana Starets, from Venezia, age 2. Sveta Stiskin, perished, Odoskaya, age 1. We promise to never forget.
From the book by Yitzhak B. Teitelbaum, Through Our Eyes, Children Witness the Holocaust. Avraham, a boy of 14, shared. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people were walking, taking their belongings with them, some on their heads, some on their backs, some on their shoulders. They were children, old people, babies, all of them like the exile of the peoples, the exile from Egypt. We remember Claudine Guthman, age 6, perished Auschwitz. Darius Homayuni, age 7, murdered at Fort 9. Esther Fuerth, age 5, perished at Auschwitz. Stella Filius, age 1, perished at Treblinka. Dobsia Zelwiansky, age 9, perished in Warsaw. Avraham Sin, age 7, Auschwitz. Chaim Dejvare, age 1, perished at Birkenau. Tawa Sajraberg, age 3, at Treblinka. Ilokina Falisman, age 4, perished at Auschwitz. Elza Steiner, age 10, murdered at Auschwitz. Heidi Heiss, age 9, perished at Treblinka. Rochel Soschlinger, age 4, perished in Tarnow. Alisa Weinberger, age 6, lived and perished in Zaborkonsky. Jenia Gelin, age 10, perished in Morzokova. Roka Zilkman, age 5, Dumbravarsky. Yitzhak Gobatsky, age 7. Bunia Bettelman, age 4, lived and died in Kamensk-Podolsky. Israel Betinsky, age 8, perished at Treblinka. Ilonka Heimlich, age 7, perished at Birkenau. Jacob Feintuch, age 7, perished at Auschwitz. Bella Gimovich, age 1, perished in Odessa. Judita Lowinger, age 2. Mordechai Gurwitch, age 2, perished in Lenin. Freddie Goldstein, aged 4, died in Auschwitz. Joseph Farkas, age 7, perished in Auschwitz. Saljensky Grinwald, age 3, perished in Auschwitz. Judith Ginsburg, age 10, perished in Treblinka. Salar Solmovitz, age 6, from Komalovo. Maitik Seradansky, age 5, from Kalids. Pinchas Beecher, age 10, perished in Transitania. Hannah Goldzager, age 3, perished Meidel. Devora Grunfeld, age 6, perished Belzik. Sofia Ildarova, age 3, perished Nalshik. Iser Zelensky, age 9, perished in Chelmno. Maya Goldentool, age 6, from Kiev. Alla Kozlalyak, age 1, from Minsk. Tzvi Schwaritz, age 7, perished Auschwitz. T.B. Schwaritz, age 2, perished in Auschwitz. Sia Maklina, age 4, born and died in Zitomir. Polya Rottenberg, aged 8. We promise to never forget.
The generation of survivors is dwindling. We are the bearers of their legacy and must do all we can to remember the victims of the Holocaust. By reading their names, age, and place of death, we keep their memory alive, reminding the world of what the Jewish people have lost. We're also obligated to learn more and share scholarly research. We must keep the stories and the memories of the survivors alive by passing them on to the next generation. Since March of 2020, B'nai B'rith has brought information about the Shoah to the community via webinars and conversations with survivors and researchers. We'll continue our commemoration today with the inclusion of 2 of these programs from our online collection. How the Oyneg Shabes Hid an Astonishing Archive, a conversation with Beryl Leaf Benderly, and The Dressmakers of Auschwitz, the women who sewed to survive, a podcast interview with Lucy Adlington. Please continue to watch as we remember so much of what we lost, as well as what we are obligated to do. Never forget. The programs will immediately follow this ceremony at this Zoom link. Now, if you're unable to remain online at this time, you can find these programs and a playlist of meaningful material about the Shoah at our YouTube page. Visit youtube.com/B'nai B'rith International and click on playlists. For more information about pages of testimony and the Unto Every Person There Is a Name program, please visit B'nai B'rith's website at b'naibrith.org/unto-every-person. Thank you for joining us.